One of Apple's biggest secrets just got exposed, not by a journalist, not by an insider, but by a full-on cyber attack. We're talking about leaked files, stolen documents, and images of the iPhone 18 Pro floating around the dark web right now. And on top of all that, a brand new photo just dropped showing us what one of the new colors might actually look like. So today, we're breaking down everything. The leaked dark cherry color, the bad news about the modem situation, and the massive security breach that has Apple seriously worried. Let's get into it. Okay, so let's start with the color leak because this is what got a lot of people talking this week. A well-known leaker on Weibo, called Instant Digital, shared a photo of what appears to be a SIM tray from the iPhone 18 Pro. And according to the leaker, this SIM tray belongs to the dark cherry version of the phone. Now, here's the thing, the image quality isn't great. It's a bit blurry, and it's hard to tell exactly what you're looking at. But what we can see is that this color is nothing like what earlier leaks suggested. Earlier renders showed something bright and bold, like a vivid cherry red, but this SIM tray looks much darker. Think deep burgundy, or maybe even a really dark purple that's almost black. So if you were hoping for something bright and eye-catching like the cosmic orange from the iPhone 17 Pro, this might not be what you expected. It looks like Apple is going for something more subtle and sophisticated this time. Now, how many colors are we getting? Based on everything we've seen so far, it looks like Apple is planning 3 colors. The first is a light blue option. The second is a silver gray finish. And the third is this dark cherry color we just talked about. Someone in the comments of the Weibo post asked Instant Digital whether Apple would also offer a black version. The leaker's answer was simple, no black model. So if you're a fan of the space black or titanium black finishes from previous years, this could be a bit of a letdown. The dark cherry version seems to be the darkest option available. That said, at least 2 other sources have mentioned that Apple might also be working on a dark gray version. But it's not clear whether that will actually make it into the final lineup. We've seen some renders and even dummy units for a few of these colors, but nothing is confirmed yet. So for now, we're looking at 3 colors, light blue, silver gray, and dark cherry. Alright, now let's get to the bad news that a lot of people were not happy to hear about. For the past year or so, there was a lot of excitement around the idea that the iPhone 18 Pro would be the first iPhone to ditch the Qualcomm modem completely. Apple has been working on its own modem chip for a long time. They introduced the C1 chip in the iPhone 16e, and the next step was supposed to be the C2 chip showing up in the flagship Pro lineup. And honestly, that would have been a big deal. Apple making its own modem means more control over performance, battery life, and overall efficiency. But here's where things get complicated. Thanks to files that came out of the Tata Electronics data breach, which we'll get to in a moment, it looks like Apple is still relying on Qualcomm's Snapdragon 5G modem for the iPhone 18 Pro, at least in some markets. Specifically, it seems like the Qualcomm modem will be used in the US versions of the phone. The C2 chip from Apple is expected to be used in markets where there's no millimeter wave 5G support. In simple terms, millimeter wave is the super fast version of 5G that's mostly used in the US right now. Apple's C2 chip might not be ready to handle that yet, so they're keeping Qualcomm around for those markets. Multiple Qualcomm component codes were found in the leaked files, which made this one of the more surprising discoveries from the whole breach. Now, to be fair, the person who shared this information with certain tech reporters did say that this might not be the final shipping configuration. These could be engineering-level files that don't reflect what actually ends up in stores. So take this with a grain of salt, as they say. But based on what we know right now, it's looking like Qualcomm isn't going anywhere just yet. Okay, so even with the modem situation being a bit disappointing, there's still a lot to be excited about with the iPhone 18 Pro. Let's start with the chip. The iPhone 18 Pro is expected to come with Apple's A20 Pro chip, which is being called Apple's first chip built on a 2-nanometer process. For context, a smaller chip process generally means better performance and better battery efficiency. But the A20 Pro isn't just about the smaller size. It's also said to use a new packaging technology called WNCM, which stands for Wafer-Level Multi-Chip Module. This replaces an older method that Apple has been using for years. What this means in practice is faster data speeds inside the chip, lower delays, and better heat management. Speaking of heat, The A20 Pro is also expected to be in direct contact with the vapor chamber inside the phone. This is a more effective way to move heat away from the chip, which could help with sustained performance during heavy tasks. The chip also reportedly has a bigger neural engine, which is the part responsible for handling AI tasks on device. That means faster photo processing, smarter Siri, and better performance for AI features overall. Now let's talk cameras. The leaked files show that the sensor ID has changed from 0x903 to 0x905, and the number of sensor configurations has jumped from 21 to 24. What this points to is Sony's new IMX905 sensor potentially making its way into the iPhone 18 Pro. This is a meaningful upgrade over what's in the current Pro lineup. And the camera upgrade is also connected to another big feature, variable aperture. This is something that Android phones like certain Samsung Galaxy models have had for a while. It basically means the camera lens can physically adjust how much light it lets in, similar to how a professional camera works. If Apple pulls this off, it would be a significant step forward for iPhone photography. Now, let's talk about where a lot of this information is actually coming from, the Tata Electronics cyberattack. Tata Electronics is one of Apple's key manufacturing partners in India. They've been expanding their role in assembling iPhones as Apple tries to move more production out of China. But earlier this year, Tata suffered a serious cyberattack, and according to Reuters, more than 200,000 files were stolen. These files include confidential Apple documents, supplier information, engineering files, internal emails, component lists, and images of the iPhone 18 Pro. Several of these files reportedly carried Apple's internal code names and confidentiality markings. Details about chips, batteries, camera modules, and other hardware are now said to be circulating on the dark web. Apple is reportedly investigating the breach and working closely with Tata to assess the damage. Tata, on their end, has restricted access to affected systems and brought in external cybersecurity experts to look into what happened. Well-known tipsters including Ice Universe, Evan Blass, and Majin Buu have already shared some of the leaked images and videos. Some of these show the iPhone 18 Pro going through internal drop tests. If the leaked images are real, here's what the phone might look like: flat edges, a centered USB-C port, and a triple camera setup on the back. The camera module appears to be slightly larger than the current model, with thicker rings around each lens. There's also a matte silver finish visible in some of the images, which has people wondering if Apple might be going back to titanium after switching to aluminum for the iPhone 17 Pro. Apple hasn't confirmed any of this, and they haven't said whether the leaked images are real or not. So, there you have it. Everything we know so far about the iPhone 18 Pro, a dark cherry color that looks much darker and deeper than expected. A continued partnership with Qualcomm for the modem, at least in the US, the powerful new A20 Pro chip with better thermals and a bigger neural engine. A camera upgrade potentially featuring Sony's new sensor and variable aperture. And a massive data breach that may have exposed Apple's most sensitive product details months before the phone even launches. It's been a wild few weeks in the Apple world, and things are only going to get more interesting as we get closer to the fall launch. If you found this video helpful, go ahead and hit that like button. It really helps the channel out. Drop a comment below and let me know what you think about the dark cherry color. Are you a fan of the darker, more subtle look, or were you hoping for something brighter? And if you want to stay up to date on everything iPhone 18 Pro, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next update. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.